That's enough silence. We did the silence. Plenty of silence.
I like when Jake does silence.
All right. Chris.
Yes.
No, Caitlin.
Okay.
Do it. Say it. Hello. Welcome to the Thought of the Thing You Buy.
A what to lick her
I
by?
don't fucking know. It looks like a pussy. Let's do it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
God.
Jake
Why?
is on
Why do
today.
any of us come to this thing?
I
I
am
live
coming to this
here.
thing right now.
I thought it got warm over here.
Ooh.
Sticky. Oh, you owe me a Coke. That was a jizz joke.
Thank you.
All
I
right,
wasn't
now-
sure.
Now do the thing.
I'm gonna knock you out, to be honest.
I'm gonna knock you
Oh,
up.
yeah?
Well, the three of us should probably give them some privacy.
No.
Good luck. I have an IUD, bitch.
Shit.
He's got really powerful sperm.
Chris knows. It's all over his feet.
It's literally trying to carry Chris away.
I
Your sperm are like ants. They have 10 times the strength and weight of their body.
See, and the problem is Chris is going to keep all this in, and that's where the
Oh my
episode's
god,
so
please
long.
do leave this in.
All right. Can we
50-50
please
shot.
And by when
carry
please
on?
leave this in. That's what she said, am I right?
Please stop disrespecting the clock. I spent a lot of time
You'll have to
What?
explain
No,
the
you
clock.
didn't.
making that
You didn't
clock.
spend a lot of time
Well,
on it.
let's get into the
Stop.
episode.
Yes, let's
Stop.
actually
Fine.
start, though.
You're like, I spent a time.
I had to buy supplies.
Alright, well, shut up so I can start.
Oh, no.
Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, the Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin and joining me are...
Jake.
Chris.
Ames.
James Rossi!
Rossi.
that jack
Jesus,
off.
who let him in?
And Rossi's clock.
Yay! I made a clock.
We don't
because
really like to
episode's
see
not-
your
He's
clock.
like
Yeah.
Flava
James.
Flav. Oh, that's what we should have done. We should just wrap it around your neck and choke you with it.
Jesus Christ.
Rossi is convinced he can keep us on task. My bet is he won't.
No, I think I could keep you on task if I was running the episode.
If you were... There is no running the episode. That's You have to understand.
I would
this is
run.
this is
I would
this is
run.
an
This is
anarchy.
organic. This is an organic exploration of love and touching.
Now do the
Space.
intro, and then Rossi can run the episode.
No.
No! I'm not stealing someone's turn.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, it's not
No,
really
she'll
my
still do
turn.
the intro. You'll...
You're gonna be our host.
Alright.
What the fuck?
Ghost.
Alright, and it is episode 123.
Ow!
I know, right? I can't believe it either.
Lucky number in Dorset.
Endorse it?
Mhm.
What?
Dorset, England.
123 is a lucky number in Dorset, England?
Sure, why not?
Fuck Dorset, England. If anyone here is from
Oi,
Dorset, England,
governor!
you know how I
from
feel.
Dorset! Well,
Dude.
we have a 1, 2, 3.
No, don't pull it out. I think... Yikes. I think Jake and... Jesus Christ. I think Jake and Chris have just discovered the new trending viral stick it in
We
your
call
beard
it
thing.
nesting. It's where you build a nest of twigs in your beard and hope birds
No,
come.
it's like pickup sticks or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So what are we discussing this week?
Placemat
The
again.
stupid shit that you guys are putting into your beard first. We're here today to discuss 2 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. Wacky, I know. Totally not what we usually do. First, we're going to be talking about Ship in a Bottle. Moriarty is like, hey, bitch, did you forget about me? And Picard's like, lol, yeah. I'm sorry. Moriarty's like, yeah, well, you will be, bitch. And he takes over the ship. Picard and friends think that they have left the holodeck and that everything is groovy. But in reality, they're still in the holodeck, and Moriarty is, pulling some strings. He wants his... He and Reg would have a lot to talk about because he and his girlfriend that he made up in the holodeck want to become real and run away together into space.
We should talk to Geordi, too.
Yeah.
A whole lot
That's
of
true.
them. And Wesley. I'm sure he's left out.
I don't know. He did all right in Aquiel.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's like, who is it even? It's like Picard and Reg and Data are all stuck in the holodeck. Kissing. And...
Accurate.
Yeah. Basically, Moriarty tricks them. They're trying to figure out a way in the holodeck program that they're still stuck in to figure out how to get Moriarty's girlfriend out, whose name is Regina. Thank you.
Regina.
Regina.
I'm sorry, is her name actually
Her
Regina?
Yes,
name was
Regina.
Regina.
Regina Countess Bartholomew.
So... Moriarty really just wanted to call her Vagina, but couldn't? Like, I don't really
He could
understand.
still call her
In
that.
English-
Someone else technically programmed.
Yeah, he didn't
it for
make
me.
her.
No,
Yeah.
you're misunderstanding. In British, her name is pronounced Regina.
1, 2, 3.
Her clam is pronounced vagina.
Vagina.
It's pronounced Fanny.
It's true.
Fanny Farmer's chocolates.
Quick side note already. Did you guys hear about that guy that got on Twitter and it was like, actually it's not a vulva, it's a vagina. And then Twitter was like, lol, you're dumb as shit. No? All right. Well,
I saw it. It was,
had to be there.
Fabulous.
I thought it was great. Anyway, his girlfriend, Rolva Bartholomew.
Mulva?
Dolores!
This is why it takes so long, Rossi.
Yeah,
See?
You're doing a really bad job already, Rossi.
Well, I don't want to boss people around.
Oh, also, wait, hold on. Here's the other thing. The way Rossi has this laid out, we're supposed to do the...
you talk about the first episode first,
we're supposed to...
and the
You
second
only
episode
have to
second.
do this one, because you're going to do the intro to the second episode
Because
later.
when you get to the second episode, you're going to re-summarize it anyway.
This is the new... This is Rossi's show now.
I feel like I have a lot of...
I would have planned way better if this was going to be my show.
I'm just saying that I feel like I have a lot of objections to us changing our format just because Rossi says so.
We're experimenting. This is an experimental... We're doing some experimentation.
Well,
for the record,
is this a democracy? Because nobody asked me.
For the record, Jake is the only one saying that we should do it my way. I'm not even saying this.
He made
just
the clock.
Jake.
You said it by making the clock.
Chris, this is why I said in the beginning we should never have guests. Anyway, what do you think we should do, oh wise one? This is your podcast.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
I came up with it. It's not mine. It's ours, collectively. We're like communists.
Well, this is bullshit. Anyway... They're able to basically do exactly what Moriarty did back to Moriarty, where they're like, oh yeah, bro, we're going to send you into space. Here's your shuttlecraft. Sorry about everything. And by the way, could you please give control of the ship back to us now? And he was like, sure, bye. And he takes off in a shuttlecraft, and he and his girlfriend, and they're gone. And they're actually in, like, I don't know, it looks like a Ghostbusters ghost trap majig, but it's for, like, computers.
They're in No Man's Sky.
It's a personal holodeck.
There you go.
The ending is a total, like, existential nightmare.
Yes,
I love it. We'll talk
it's
about
really
that
messed
soon.
up.
It's
Have we
super,
ever
super
left
fun.
the holodeck at all? Any of us ever? Really?
Nope. I'm
Well,
already
they
in a
joke
holodeck.
about that. Picard even makes a joke in the very end where he's like, we could be just living inside a little box on somebody's table. Wink, camera.
My name, for all I know, might be Patrick Stewart.
Ridiculous. Did you guys see, this makes me think of this thing, did you guys see that, like, apparently one of the billboards somewhere in America on a dark night, like, it started to malfunction, so there was, like,
Yes,
a
I did see
Windows
this.
98 style, like, there's an error with your program, but because the screen was dark, it looked like it was just part of the sky. And apparently, the takeaway was like, holy shit, we're actually in the
That's
Matrix.
awesome.
Yeah.
Where are my superpowers then?
So, something that's interesting about this episode...
Wait, we
We
haven't
are-
summarized Aquiel yet.
Wait, are we going to do the? Are we going to use
All
the?
right,
Do
you
the
can talk about
are we
Aquiel.
going to use the Rossi system?
No, I'm
don't
not
have
going to
to.
talk
We don't
about
have to use
Aquiel.
this.
I quit. I'm on strike.
All right,
Oh,
we're
I'm
doing.
sorry.
We're trying.
It's
All
not
right,
intent.
you wanted
cool.
this.
Oh,
I
that's...
didn't
I didn't
any
understand
of
that
this.
was the Rossi system. I see.
It's on the clock.
Jake is the only...
It's on the fucking
Because I
clock.
made the clock doesn't mean you have to
Excuse
follow the
me.
damn thing.
We're on the clock.
All
Can we
right,
fucking
whatever.
Okay,
get
so...
on
hold
with
on,
it?
hold on, hold on.
Hush in a bottle.
Hush.
We have to sit here.
Shit in a
We have
bottle?
to wait about 3 minutes.
No, it's totally
Before we get to
fine
the yellow
be ahead
zone.
of schedule. The ahead of schedule's
No,
good.
we have 3 more minutes. He's right.
Ahead of
3 minutes of silence.
No, ahead of schedule's good.
Shut up.
All right.
Observe the
This is-
silence.
All right, so
episode's going to be half an hour long.
You wanted to say something about chip and
Yeah,
bottle.
so something that I've always found interesting about the production of this, when this is the second Moriarty episode.
Yes.
And the
Fucking 5 seasons apart.
Well, so what happened is the first Moriarty episode, when they wrote it and performed it, basically they were told, oh, Moriarty is not in the public domain. You can't just use this character. And so they, that was the, what's his name? Like...
Conan Doyle estate?
Yeah. And so it's like, technically you're supposed to pay for the rights to use these characters. And then they, Star Trek was like, oh, crap, sorry. Like, they just had no idea.
It's super old, and it seems absurd that it's still in copyright.
Exactly. And
Thanks,
so...
Mickey Mouse.
And so the estate wasn't too upset about it, and later they did come to arrangements in order to create this episode as the sequel to it. But that's one of the reasons why it took so long for it to actually happen.
Yeah.
Which inadvertently makes Picard seem like one of the biggest douchebags in the world.
They should have at least said, like, oh yeah, we wanted to visit you or something, but we were,
Yeah.
We thought Sherlock Holmes would deal with it, but nope.
Because of this gap, Picard basically locked a sentient program away for 5 years and did absolutely nothing. Didn't send him to, like, an institute for study. He just kept him. Like,
Yeah, at the very least...
He kicked it up to management.
Yeah, but you should give the program to those guys.
right. So, like, if you have a sentient program, you should probably keep it running.
Yeah.
Or delete it.
They said they'd try to...
Yeah, they thought
No, I know.
he'd be on pause.
I just don't. Here's the thing: is like, did they really know that he was going to feel the passage of time like that? Because it didn't.
They were
seem
surprised
like
by
they knew.
I'll give them that they did, that they figured he would just wake up, but like, but still, like, let's say, I'm like, I'm in a situation and like I need help, and so they just freeze me for 5 years and don't do anything and don't tell me about it just because I wake up and don't notice there's time.
It reminded me of I think there's 1 or 2 Black Mirror episodes where to torture a sentient computer program, they just let it run and experience many years of time at least or something.
Yeah, it was like centuries.
Oh my god, passing while literally nothing is happening, and it's great.
Yeah.
We should be a Black Mirror podcast. Make us a clock for that.
No. See, then we'll figure out the clock actually, like, I don't know, is actually the government, and it's all a nightmare, and...
I'm a second.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
It's just a clock with some colors on
Okay,
it.
Yes, but if it was a Black Mirror clock, it would be something
I mean,
more.
yeah, but...
Black Mirror is all about how, phones, but too much.
What if clocks, but too much? That's this episode.
So...
There's your title.
What if beat Bobby Flay but with a mallet?
You know what would have
I'll
really,
watch that.
like...
Me too.
What's wrong with Bobby Flay?
He's a fucking dickhead.
Is he?
Yeah, he's an arrogant prick.
You know what really would have, like...
There was a show called Beat
All
Bobby
right.
Flay.
I know, I just said that. I said, what if beat Bobby Flay but with a mallet?
All
I
right.
get the joke.
So, what really would have kicked this episode, I think, into instant classic territory, despite any other failings, was if they had wooed Diana Muldaur back to be Regina.
They should have.
Yeah.
Because then he would have programmed her as the woman he
But
loved.
he
Well,
didn't
he
program
didn't.
her. That's the thing.
So who did program her?
She
Data?
was just part of the story. She was just
Yeah.
a part of the story that they had.
Bullshit, because Moriarty doesn't have a girlfriend in the books.
Well, it's part of the extra
Yeah.
crap they had to make up because Data knew all the stories.
Yeah,
that makes
remember they
sense.
had to create a new mystery, and the mystery turned out to be...
Stupid.
Yeah, but Moriarty's dead. That's the thing.
Spoilers.
Well, again, they're
What?
altering...
He dies in... The
His
only time you
first
ever see
appearance.
him is in the... What is it actually called?
Final
Problem.
This is a video game, basically.
I know, but what I'm saying is...
The canon doesn't apply.
Okay, so I don't know the books of the Witcher series, but I know that there's a video game series which is pretty good, and the video
see a lot of tits.
The video game series completely departs from the book canon.
Yeah.
So this is a video game of Sherlock Holmes, and it completely departs from the book canon.
Okay, but the other stories that we saw literally were the canon.
Well, right, but those are the ones Data kept getting
But I
too
know-
quickly, so they said, hey, computer, fuck the canon, make us Discovery.
Was the one with the
Canon's a little
left-hand
weird.
guy, was that an actual Holmes story?
I
At
don't
the beginning?
remember, to be
The
honest.
teaser?
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, I don't know. But, I don't know. I just feel like...
This is becoming cyclical.
But do you know?
I don't know.
Oh, do you know?
I don't think
you?
anybody knows.
Okay, so Moriarty, Mori-Farty.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at that.
There's your laugh.
So,
One of Chris's many.
all right, so this is a broccoli episode, which is nice, because everyone likes a little broccoli.
Yeah, they added him specifically because he would be someone who's unaware of Moriarty. But I also don't know why Barclay has the capacity to go into these locked files.
Yeah, that was very strange.
Well,
I actually, no one knows the holodeck better than Barclay.
That's true.
That's why he should be locked out of it.
I know, I said the same thing. I was like, really? They know he's like a recovering addict, and they're like, Barkley, go fix the holodeck.
Last time he was
Can't
in
tell
there,
me that's
he
not
took
itchy.
over the ship.
That's true.
Keep this man out of the holodeck.
I know.
Or put him in his own holodeck program, let it run forever.
Pretty
Yeah,
much
really.
every time he's been in the
So
holodeck,
here's the
he's caused
thing.
problems.
He Barkley straight up lied because so after he sees Moriarty, he goes and he says, I can't remember to who, if it was to
Geordi and Data?
Yeah, and he says, hey, I was trying to work on fixing the holodeck, and Moriarty appeared out of nowhere.
No, you called him up. You opened that
He
program.
literally said,
Yeah.
open up protected memory, which he probably wasn't supposed to do.
Maybe.
So...
Why was he able then?
Well,
I'm
maybe,
very irate.
maybe somebody like gave him permission and then just never revoked it.
It's just kind of it's messed up that they just sort of left him just like in a random holodeck buffer, basically.
Yeah.
Like this sentient being.
Well, the thing
Kind of
is,
it's kind of
it's
hard to get over the fact that this was basically a person with all the rights of a person, but denied the basic.
Yeah, but they didn't know. They didn't think he'd be able to get out. They didn't, and like...
But this is not the point.
I don't know. I think the,
I don't know. I
the
don't-
exocomps we saw recently are going to want in on this discussion.
Yeah, well, that's
Too bad they don't have mouths.
So that's the other thing. Is like the Picard is way like he'll totally accommodate Data, the nanites,
The exocomps.
the exocomps, various other creatures. But why doesn't the Prime Directive apply to Moriarty?
Because he's a fucking famous genius crime lord.
Yeah, but he's
Who the
also-
fuck
but
is
he's
gonna
also-
let him out on the world?
He's also a pre-warp species.
But
See,
he's
that's-
also not a species. He's a fucking thing
They create-
that accidentally
yeah, but that's
happens
the
on
thing.
the...
Well,
The
that's
exocomps were an
okay.
accident.
Listen.
We're listening.
Listening.
Lots of people are accidents,
I'm one.
and yeah,
We call
Chris,
those surprises.
Chris, we're not going to lock you in a holodeck buffer.
I might.
Yeah, no, we are. We're gonna.
We're not going to trick you into thinking you're flying a spaceship when you're really not.
Pew,
Thank
pew.
you.
I did love, because you have to realize later, when Moriarty goes up onto 10 forward, where the
Regina.
fuck did they actually bring him?
Yeah, 10
Observation lounge, wherever he goes.
And he goes,
And he's like, oh my
You're
god,
adrift in the heavens.
space! Holy fucking shit balls! And then you realize, wait, he programmed this. He knows about the whole space.
Well, it actually does.
He's a genius.
It does
Yeah.
explain a bit of confusion I had. Because I was like, wait, didn't he know it was a spaceship last time he was... Oh, okay, that's all right.
He's a sneak. And here's my question. Because this is a boxes within boxes, like fucking tape it up on the wall with strings and straws.
Yeah.
Kind of an episode where it's like, okay, what's real anymore, guys? Do we ever actually see Riker during the bulk of the episode?
inside the holodeck?
From inside the holodeck.
I don't know if we do.
Are any of the times we see him on the bridge actually Riker?
Yeah, I
and
don't know.
and even if not, or if so, what the fuck what did he do this entire episode?
Well, he was on the bridge. I mean, they didn't... So here's my thinking, right?
Yeah.
So they're in the holodeck.
Because I've seen this twice. I was like, okay, is he real or not real?
Moriarty takes over takes over the pretend ship in the holodeck.
He takes over the holodeck.
Yeah, he takes over the holodeck, but the people
makes the
outside of
holodeck
but the
look like the
people outside of the holodeck, Riker, nobody has any idea this is going on. They just think, oh, Picard and Data and Geordi, Picard and Data and Barclay, they just went down to the holodeck to go talk to Moriarty. They're just down there they're spending an awful long time in there. Nobody outside the holodeck has any idea any of this is going on until Picard gives his security clearance to the computer,
Right,
on the
because then
fake
something goes wrong
Enterprise.
with the ship.
And then
Yeah.
Moriarty is able to take over the real Enterprise using Picard's secret code, and then he calls up the real Riker on the bridge and
So
says,
the first time we see Riker is the real Riker, and the subsequent times
So
we see
that-
Riker
well,
is the
so
fake Riker.
anytime we see Riker, the only time Riker is fake is toward the end when Picard tricks Moriarty by making a fake arch inside the holodeck on the fake Enterprise inside the real Enterprise's holodeck.
And that's when he tells Riker about the Heisenberg uncoupling.
No, yeah, but the Heisenberg thing is just a bullshit story. Is not real.
Okay, okay, cool.
He's telling that to a fake Riker.
Got it.
The important thing is that he told the plan, the fake plan that would never have actually worked, told that to Regina. Regina then told it to Moriarty, who told it to the real Riker.
No, he told it to the fake Riker.
No, he told it to the real Riker.
it was the fake Riker.
Then they wouldn't have done anything outside.
They
I don't think
didn't do anything outside.
See,
but they did because they had to put him into the cube.
No, Picard and Data put him in the cube, and Barclay may or may not have helped.
Yeah, they pull the cube out as they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. He never tells the Heisenberg thing to the real Riker, because as soon as the Countess tells Moriarty about the Heisenberg thing, he calls for the arch, and that arch that appears is a fake arch that Picard creates, or probably more likely Data created. And when he calls Riker, on that he's talking to fake Riker, who is the same fake Riker that we see in the
Shuttle bay.
in the shuttle bay, which is on another fake enterprise.
Right.
It's
fake
Inception level
within fake enterprises. Spin this top.
So nobody, the only person who ever actually communicated with the real Riker was Moriarty.
Once or twice.
Once or twice.
All right, because I do know there was the scene where Worf and some security goons are trying to break
The
through,
guy's like,
a force field around the holodeck, and when we finally open the actual holodeck doors, they're there, like right there, being like, "Oh, it's open now," and you're like, because you guys have been here the whole time, being not very useful.
yeah. So
How long did it last the whole time
It was
they were
like
in there?
5 hours, 5 or 6
Days.
hours. No,
It seemed like a very long time.
They had to be stuffed full of crumpets.
No, it had to be real time, and they only had so long before, like, the star was going to kerplode and kill them, so...
It wasn't a star kerploding. It was two gas giants.
Right, becoming a star.
Who was
Which
going
I hate.
Which I don't think is science.
No, and it wouldn't be fast. It would be a very slow
It would take
process.
a long time, but I think you could that could happen if
If
they
you
were
had
sufficient mass.
If you had two, I don't
gas
even know.
giants?
I don't even know if they'd be considered planets at this point.
I think
but
that's,
if you had two bodies of enough mass,
Pluto isn't considered a planet.
I think that would be a white dwarf star. I think that's what you would get is a white dwarf star,
Was it going to be white?
because that's just the type of star that type
I
of
know,
thing
I
would
was just
create.
kidding.
It's to do with
It's
the
very
common light
small physically, but it's massive.
Like white. Anyway, that's weird.
Anyway,
What else have we got?
Oh, so one thing actually I wanted to say earlier, because we were talking about it, but we got sidetracked, was that is one
Sidetrack, this has
thing
been great.
that seems really weird in this episode, is like Picard can't seem to let go of the idea that Moriarty is Moriarty, even though he's not really anymore.
he's not bad. He's just drawn that way.
Something greater.
Yeah, that's just it. Like
That's true, yeah.
He gets really hung up on the idea that he's,
It is-
infamous criminal
It
Moriarty.
is
It's like,
it is pretty funny that like Picard on more than one occasion says like, "Are you sure you're not just going to commit crime?"
Yeah,
and it's like, dude, chill
this
out.
seems weirdly out of character, because this is such a stupid question.
You really need to calm down your focus on this crime
Yeah.
that he supposedly would commit.
So
Yeah.
but I don't think that's unwarranted, because I think that.
Dude,
But-
he takes over the ship. That is a crime.
Because
He's still a
the
criminal
last
mastermind.
time Picard had any interaction with Moriarty, he kidnapped
He was just making a
Pulaski
point.
and threatened to destroy the ship
And fill her with
and
crumpets.
give her crumpets in her vagina.
Did she come
Her
up this
vulva.
episode?
Sadly, no.
No,
Oh, I was hoping we get a reference.
I don't. Did she?
They
ever get
he
referenced stuff
he
before
mentioned
this?
that he had a hostage.
Oh, yeah.
So she wasn't referenced by name.
Oh.
She was mentioned, I think, once briefly in an episode.
Yeah.
In, like, season 3.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he had at least asked about her.
Yeah, which...
I know, because he sees like it's a fake Bev, but he sees a Bev, and he knows to program Bev and not Pulaski.
That would have been great, as if they walked into the sick bay and instead of Beverly it was Pulaski.
That would have been great because we all
that
love
would've been
Pulaski.
Although that would have rumbled his
made me
game.
very happy.
One thing I was sad about is I don't think there were any references to characters using the wrong hand for stuff until the Geordi scene later on. One thing I was really hoping for was that Beverly's, like, when Beverly's scanning Moriarty in the sick bay, I was really hoping she was using swapped hands for it, but she's not.
Oh, would you know?
Yeah, I definitely double-checked.
One
with,
of
like,
my
a couple
favorite
different episodes.
things is the look on fake Geordi's face.
Oh
when
my
he's
god,
told
that's-
he's fake.
That has always stuck with me.
I
It
love
doesn't
it so
compute.
much.
Yeah,
he just
he's-
walks away.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, I am?
This
You know what it
doesn't
is?
seem right.
You know what it is? It's because he's like, wait, I'm not real? And he just tore ass through the ship, killing people, getting laid. Like, he did everything Geordi's ever
More
wanted to do.
creeping.
Yeah.
So
He and Leia are going on a tear.
the other interesting thing that is kind of cool is that Moriarty was lucky that it wasn't Geordi that came into the holodeck. Because Geordi probably could have just seen with the visor that, you're not real.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, he would have been like, guys, we're still on the holodeck.
And he's also, and that nobody in there had a freaking tricorder. All the tricorders were fake tricorders that he made that would clearly show him as being human.
Yeah.
like Bev says, like, oh yeah, he's clearly human because my medical thinger says
But
so.
I do find one thing I find ridiculous about this episode, and you could argue that so
Ridiculous or fabulous?
ridiculous, fabulous. I'd say ridiculous.
Fabulous.
So like you could argue because it really does seem like Data and Picard and Broccoli and fake Geordi are actually working on the problem of how to get Moriarty's girlfriend out of the holodeck. Like they actually seem like they're legit doing this. But that is absolutely ridiculous. Like that, there's no like.
I mean, fake Geordi maybe because he's programmed to, but
Yeah,
he doesn't come up with any ideas
because like
he's fake.
I do not think that like Data, especially, like I could see a human having like the imaginative, being like, "Ooh, maybe a miracle." I don't know, but there's no
What if we wish really
way.
hard? Take the
like
Venus
Data
drug.
is going to believe this for a second.
Well, Data would believe his eyes on that, but Data
I don't think
probably. Well, if he sees it happening,
I think he would. I think his immediate thought would be, "Oh, it's a trick. We're in the holodeck."
I mean, yeah. I mean, he also can't he see in different spectrums as well? Like maybe not to the same.
I don't know.
Maybe not to the same.
I don't
degree
know,
as
but
Geordi,
he is
but-
anatomically correct.
Yes,
Yeah, but I think Data would have pretty much in like 0.0002 microseconds would have been like, "Oh, it's a trick."
See, what they should have done, the real solution to this episode, would have been to warp off to that planet from What Are Little Girls Made Of, make Moriarty an android body, and stick his mind in it.
They could have done that. Well, let's also
Rest in peace, Rock.
What about let's talk about this transporter plan, this brilliant transporter plan. It might have worked on the chair. I'll give him that. The chair might have worked, but there's no way you're gonna take, because I hate this, like, unless the holodeck actually works by creating a holographic brain that actually works and holographic organs that actually work, and that's how the holodeck people work, which I don't think is true. I think basically a holodeck person is just a shell of a person's figure, and everything it does is driven by the computer, which is in the ship. So if you beam the Countess off of the holodeck, she would basically be a skin suit, a body suit that would just crumple to the floor like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. And that would be it. That would be the end of it. Yeah. Because I don't think there's anything inside of her that makes her a person.
No. The only time fluids come out is like if you're playing one of Barclay's programs, and then
I'm going to say playing one of Worf's programs.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say
in the
like
future,
Writer's programs.
so I'm going to spoil something. In the future, we have a holographic character who is a regular on the series.
Oh,
and
which series?
Voyager.
Oh,
Let's say the Doctor's, because
it's not really a spoiler.
He lives.
And he's
he
awesome.
can only live in sick bay or the holodeck, which is where there are holographic emitters, until he gets a piece of future tech that allows him to. It's like a little computer that he can wear and walk around the ship,
And look fabulous.
but all of his brain is inside the device.
Yeah.
And if he,
so it's
and,
like
and
it's an external hard drive. And
it's like exactly.
Or it's like the little pen that Ryan Gosling keeps his girlfriend in Blade Runner 2.
And if you turn it upside down, her clothes come off.
Anyway. So basically now Moriarty and Regina are in this holodeck program cube thing.
Yep.
So if the Enterprise ever gets destroyed, they've now killed Moriarty and Regina. These examples of life that cannot be compared.
Well, I mean, Data works on the Enterprise.
Yeah, but
not to mention all the people.
He's voluntarily there.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess that they would have sent the cube that they trapped these two creatures in
to the cloud,
to like a safe location.
No,
be studied,
because they said it was now the responsibility of our good buddy Reg.
Damn it, Reg!
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Here's another question I had. Did Moriarty initially create that error that Barclay had to go in and fix with the handed problem?
No, I think that was a legit problem.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
The
I was
only
going to say
reason,
it would be great.
Otherwise, he would have fixed
literally
it.
him.
The only reason I say no is because he would have corrected it afterward.
That's fair. Okay,
that's probably.
But yeah, I definitely thought that at first.
It's also like how fucking so there's this huge fucking stellar incident happening with these planets colliding. How fucking low on the priority list is, hey, the handedness in the holodeck got messed up. We have to put one of our top engineers on.
I mean, it's Reg.
But he is
Reg isn't busy, and it could be a symptom of a bigger problem.
True, because that I mean, in his first episode, they set him onto little problems that turned out to be
that's true
a symptom of a huge issue that he identified. Mm-hmm. So that is true. But yeah, no, he is. That's the thing. He is actually, especially once he stops being so nervous, he is one of their more competent diagnostic engineers.
I thought his acting was lazy this episode, though.
He wasn't really given a whole lot to do.
He was doing a lot of face.
He didn't quite nail his nervousness that he usually has. Like he wasn't stuttering as much.
He just seemed baffled, and it's like, okay, sure, baffled was fine, but it makes your face look lazy.
Yeah.
If that's a thing, you guys can recognize.
Your face needs to get down and give us 20. Get lazy face.
All right, we should probably wrap this episode up because
According to the clock.
we are in the red zone.
I mean, it's like, is there more to say about the episode?
I don't know. The clock says we wrap up.
I only had
probably-
3 notes and we've hit them.
I mean, I feel like we've talked a whole lot. I still think that the ending is just a total fucking nightmare. Being trapped in a fake world.
That's
When
so
the
great.
then
That's
again-
so great.
when the whole point of his entire thing was that he wanted to like actually be involved in the real world and not the whims of other people.
And really,
he gets
though-
trapped in a cube for the rest of eternity.
But the thing is, I think for him that's fine because, as they say, there's enough content loaded in there to
But that's not the point. The point.
No,
the
I
point
agree.
was the reality of the situation, not the artifice of it.
Sure, but I think the reality of the situation is it is not possible with their current level of technology for him to live off the holodeck.
Right,
That's just
and that's
not
fine.
that's not going to happen.
Right. But I think he would have been more open to it if there had been evidence of them actually trying anything.
Well, that's what I think is the worst part is that okay, now they can feel like okay, we've solved that Moriarty problem. We don't have to do anything more with it.
Yeah.
Which, when in reality, I think that they should be like, holy shit, this is an amazing thing. Like, our computer, and I think I might have said this in the last Moriarty episode, our computer is capable of creating
It's a
sentient being if you just ask it to. And it will just do that.
Yep.
Supposedly, Regina was created the exact same way. Moriarty was just like, I just told the computer to do it. I don't know if he was actually lying about that or not.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, but if that's all you have to do, it's not that amazing, and they don't need them because they could make them again if they wanted to. No, seriously. And again, I don't understand why everybody's so upset. He's not real. He's a made-up thing.
He's alive.
But he has real
How is he alive?
feelings.
Stop.
Being made up doesn't.
Yes,
No, it's
it's
about being
self-consciousness,
sentient or
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Of self-awareness.
And he seems to be, so.
How much crime do you think he's getting up to in that cube?
So much.
crime.
A lot. All of the
much
crime.
Because we
crime.
know how much he loves crime.
He's committing like 1 million heists a minute. Like,
Well, that's the other thing, though. Like, why were you the one that was saying that you didn't think that he was necessarily interested in crime? Of course he is. That's his whole thing. That's what Moriarty
but
do.
he's not necessarily.
You can
probably
surpass
interested
your
in crime.
programming.
He clearly
change.
already has.
People change.
No, they don't.
Actually,
Unless they want to.
I'd like to
It's
imagine.
a program. You can reprogram him.
I'd like to imagine it's sort of like
If
a
only.
Pinky and the Brain when Snowball would show up. Where for that episode, Brain had to be the good guy to stop the worst guy. So, like,
Snowball.
he was a super intelligent hamster who disguised himself as Bill Gates.
Fucking hamsters.
But yeah, no, like, he goes out there, he's like, now let's commit space crime! And then he meets the Ferengi, and he's like, I gotta stop these guys first.
We should do a 10-4 out of this episode. Or at least link it on the Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do like this episode. I think I put this episode up there kind of with like a
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but we
it's
also
definitely
get to-
a wacky romp.
But we get to have lots of thoughts about it, though.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it's true, but I don't think you can't take this as a because I think my biggest gripe with this episode is that I do not know why they were actually trying to beam the Countess off the holodeck. It just wouldn't have worked.
Right.
Like they should have been.
It was just the best.
Like, but you
Writers
could.
come up
Although,
with.
actually, I take that back
I mean,
because
Barkley came up with the idea, so that seems in
I
character.
take that back because I think that whole thing was actually just a distraction.
This was before they knew anything, though.
No, it is.
I assumed
But
it was a
while they were
distraction
doing
also.
that, while Data and Barkley were busy, quote unquote, trying to beam the Countess off
Picard
the
was getting busy.
Picard was getting busy trying to release the computer with fake Geordi. So I think, but again, I think it's hard to say. If they were actually operating in good faith and actually trying to get him off the holodeck, then they're idiots. But if they and Moriarty fell for it, but that could just be because he doesn't have any idea how any of it works, really.
Yeah.
Well, and I assumed that
There's no
they were.
con.
I assumed that they were just doing that as like a distraction tactic,
Yeah.
and that's why Barkley was being weird. Was because he was acting.
No, I think it's because Barkley is weird.
Like I just think he was having.
I mean,
I just got the
that
impression.
makes it
he
more
was-
believable.
Yeah.
I just had the impression that he was having trouble like sticking to the plan. Like, it's because of
He's-
this thing.
He's desperately trying to not tell the actual
And
plan
there's-
to Regina
yeah, like
the
that
whole
was
time.
like that's what I thought.
We're gonna
was
beam
going
you
on
off, but
there.
we're not actually. We're just wasting time.
Oh,
we're
shit.
boosting your signal.
That's what was wrong with his face.
And there's no evidence, I
It
guess.
wasn't Barkley at all.
There's really no evidence that the real Riker actually ever put any serious thought into beaming somebody off the holodeck.
Right.
Because that's what Moriarty wanted. He wanted to get fake. He wanted to get
chair.
Geordi and or not. I keep saying Geordi.
Really
Data
wanted a
and
chair.
Barkley. He wanted them to solve the problem and then be able to tell real Riker how to do it. But that never worked.
Yeah, and then real Riker turns to real Geordi, and Geordi's like, "No, this isn't the thing."
It also means that somebody that there's an unseen scene where Moriarty would have had to take down the force field around the holodeck in order for somebody to bring him those pattern enhancers. Even though it was actually coming from the second fake Enterprise but Moriarty didn't know that. So how did he think he got those pattern enhancers?
That's a good point.
Somebody from the second fake Enterprise had to bring them those, but he would have had to thought he took down the force field to do that.
Okay, now I'm stuck clutching at straws again.
Yeah.
Aquiel!
Yeah, are we ready to say end program?
Yes, quickly.
To ship in a bottle.
The only other thing that I was thinking was, I just feel like it's kind of, my whole thing is that I think it's kind of harsh to say that you feel that we think Picard is like a horrible person, because he's had better things to do than worry about this, that's all.
No, I'm not.
He's been captured by the Borg and tortured by fucking Romulans and who knows what the fuck.
I just think Picard should have just passed it off.
He's
He's
not.
not.
I also think there's no way that
holodeck researcher. He should have
I
passed
turn
it
off
off.
my computer and I assume that it's not doing anything. I honestly, I would just pull the hard drive and put it on a shelf and worry about it later.
Yeah.
But in this case, he had no way of knowing that Moriarty would be semi-conscious.
Well, right, but that's what I mean. It's like he didn't know. So it wasn't like he decided, well, he's probably semi-conscious, but I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't think he was malicious.
I don't think he was a dick. I think he was just...
ball.
But again, he didn't really drop the ball because this is like a non-issue. If Moriarty is not noticing the passage of time, then there's like no fucking rush and you could literally forget about it forever.
Sure.
And especially when you've got other shit to do.
But shame on him that it happened.
I disagree.
Okay. Well, anyway. Aquiel?
Yeah, so our second episode is Aquiel. And in this one, the Enterprise visits Communications Relay Station 47, which is...
shit job.
Should have... Yeah, that sucks. There should be... two people? Was it really supposed to just be two people?
Just two
and a
people.
puppy.
2 people and a dog.
For a year's tour. You're going to be there for a fucking year
blows.
with one other person and a dog. These assignments always end in murder. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, haven't these people seen The Shining? Jesus. Well, they didn't even have a dog. Aquiel is a member of Starfleet who has been stationed on Communications Relay Station 47, and the Enterprise goes to check it out because they've noticed that the 2 people that were there don't seem to be transmitting any fucking thing anymore. So I think that's why they went. They get there, and there's like a dog stuck in a Jeffries tube. Ow! His name is Finney. And there's supposed to be 2 people, but there's a...
Come stain.
a big... the weird thing was I almost felt like it looked like it was the shape of a dog laying down. And because of how this episode works out, I wonder if that was the point. But it wasn't, because they figured out it was
Spoilers.
Mocha or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Rocha?
Rocha.
Matcha? La Cucaracha. So, they find La Cucaracha's... he's been definitely slimed to death, by which I mean killed by a prolonged phaser blast on level 10. Why do I remember that? Why is that what I remember about this episode? Fucking hell.
Maybe you were being absorbed by a coalescent organism and forgot your memories.
That... Well, that would explain it. So yeah, he's dead because they find his goopy remains. The dog is in the... What was it actually? It's like a...
It was like a behind a...
like a shaft of
shaft.
like an HVAC shaft of some sort. Access.
It was where the exocoms live.
It was where you would like crawl through in the bathroom ceiling in GoldenEye.
Yes.
Yeah. So Mocha Chocolate, Racha, is dead. The dog is in the shaft, and Aquiel is nowhere to be found.
They assumed she was dead for a while because her blood was everywhere.
Yeah.
That's true. And there was a shuttle missing. There was evidence that a Klingon had been on board. It's quite a funny little mystery we got here. So they're like, hey, Geordi, why don't you go down there and check it out? And so he spends, 4 or 5 hours. Oh, and the reason why they're there, too, is because some communications might have been stolen.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that's something they figure out as a result of the investigation.
Yeah,
It's really convoluted.
The computers are like all messed up. I think because someone's trying to break into those messages.
Someone's deleted messages.
Somebody was using a private email server.
They went to great lengths to be like, it's a mystery.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Super.
But yeah, Geordi winds up jerking it for 5 hours watching Aquiel's personal messages to her sister.
Watching a presumably dead woman's.
And still jerking it.
And falling in love with her anyway.
Despite her being
He's like, I hope she's
obviously dead.
Hope she's really dead so I can just put her in the holodeck and...
Yep.
This way I won't meet her and she'll actually be married and stuff.
Man, if they were able to create his version of... Wait, can't get out of here. If they
White Cat stays.
If they were able to create the version of Leah Brahms based solely on like her public speeches and stuff, imagine what they would be able to do with all the Aquiel personal logs. They would have been able to make 100% realistic copy.
99.9. Repeating. But then they call up the Klingons and they're like, hey, it looks like somebody's been tampering on here that shouldn't be tampering. There's definitely some Klingon jizz or whatever. And
his DNA is everywhere.
Yeah, his DNA's all over the place.
There were twice as many pubes on the toilet seat than there would have been for a human occupant.
So does that mean they do have 2 sets of balls as well? Then?
Clearly.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm glad that we've been able to use our CSI skills to figure out the balls. But yeah, so Picard calls up Torok, who's the local Klingon governor on the IKS Kuvat. It looks like that's what that says. Kuval?
Something like that.
What does that say?
It sounds Klingon.
Kumquat, the IKS Kumquat.
All right, come on, we're well into the yellow, by the way.
We were fucking already into the green before we...
I'm saying. The clock don't lie.
Do you realize you're just wasting more time, both of you assholes? So, anyway, they're like, hey, your Klingon's been jerking off around here? And he's like, no. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go and ask Crazy Eyes if he can come check it out. And what's the fuck's his name?
Gowron.
Thank you. And he's like, what, Gowron? Maybe I'll come down and check it out. And it turns out they had found Aquiel flying around in a little spaceship. And they bring her back. And they're like, wait a minute. Perhaps it has been a poly something or other. Where is it? A coalescent poly. Wasn't it like a poly something?
Oh,
they don't come up with that until like the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's the
that's
coalescent being or whatever.
All right, well, anyway, whatever. They're trying to figure out where she was because she doesn't remember what the fuck happened. She's excited to see her dog.
And Geordi.
Yeah, and then she and Geordi, use some...
Sex crystal?
I wonder if it's usually just a JO crystal, but they're...
Ovipositor.
And she's like and she's like the only living human female who's ever been interested in sex with Geordi. So of course that means she has to be totally under suspicion for not only the murder of Rocha, who she openly hated in her messages, but also she's like, I conveniently can't remember anything, which is suspicious.
Oh, and she also had he had also put in a special request to have her reprimanded or something for insubordination, which she deleted from the computer.
She deletes those messages.
After,
she's like, because
after all of this.
Basically, she did every incriminating thing she possibly could have done.
She had a phaser set to 10 in her shuttle.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not looking good for our heroine.
So Aquiel is kind of interesting as a character in some ways, but it's she basically, according to all of her records and stuff, she's incredibly insubordinate. She doesn't bang orders. She just she's just a real pain in the butt.
No wonder she was sent to that shit.
Specifically, I think she was specifically sent because she was a problem.
She's clearly
and she was
the
sent
worst.
here.
Let's make her Rocha's
sent to this
problem.
awful relay. But it also kind of reads like this is a it's get rid of the uppity woman kind of thing because it just reads a little weird because it's she's such a problem. It's maybe she just didn't want to put up with some commanders
well, it sounds like she was
harassment.
It sounds like she was insubordinate, right?
Right.
Well, that things
she disobeyed.
I'm with
Rocha.
you, Rossi.
They didn't say Rocha didn't want to take on the extra.
They didn't say what kind of orders she wasn't taking.
I was like, someone probably wanted to sleep with her, and
Be in
she
my
said
quarters
no.
and-
You guys are putting a
1800
lot into
hours
this
isn't-
that it is not supported
No,
by
the
the
thing
text.
is, I hadn't even thought about it, but now that he mentions it, it is a little weird.
Well, the other thing,
pretty
fucking
obvious.
Ro Laren was a criminal, and they brought her into the Enterprise.
the other thing we gotta remember is that it wasn't really Rocha. So we don't know
Right.
what... It was never Rocha.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, he'd been the shapeshifter from the beginning. So he may have been... Like, we can't say anything about her earlier commanders. But, you know, the fact like, oh, according to his record, Rocha's, like, the best. Well, she never met that Rocha. She
Right.
met this angry alien that probably was...
Well, the
being
alien-
No,
dead.
but the alien became Rocha. Like,
The alien wouldn't be angry.
The alien would have been Rocha. It only turns back into its alien form when it needs to feed and coalesce with somebody else.
So when it's
Like, that's why the dog was very friendly until it wasn't.
it did eat shoes.
Sure, but
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, when it absorbs you, it becomes you. It steals your memories, it steals your physical appearance, everything.
Does it still know what it is, or does it
I assume
actually
that I don't
think?
know.
I
think it's
don't
person,
even
right?
think it is. I think it's just I don't think it's like a shapeshifter. I think it's literally it becomes you and then it gets hungry and then it transforms back into its Odo form.
So...
Fair enough, but it does explain why he attacked her if it wasn't because it was feed time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, here was my third note on this episode.
Oh boy.
The dog is a shapeshifter. Was his name never left? Parentheses. Fuck. Let me be wrong.
Yeah,
Now I was. I had
that's
thought
pretty close.
it was closer than I wanted to be. I had thought Rocha was just some sort of alien, and he shapeshifted to like try to frame this woman that annoyed him. That was
Well,
not
they did-
quite true. But yes, I jokingly said the dog's a shapeshifter. So needless to say, when at the fucking 11th hour they broke. Like, look, there are no real rules to writing per se. You know, you can break any sort of established rule, and if you did it well, it's fine. But one of the key rules of writing a good mystery is that the audience should have all possible information as early as realistically possible. So when you, in the last 10 minutes, pull this thing out of your ass...
Oh, it's a coalescent being. See, it made my hand.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, God.
Listen, those cells have been there since the very first minute of the episode when they look at the floor and they're like, what's that?
Yes, but
Yeah,
we
never
as the
see it
audience...
mimic something. You
We
know?
as an
Right.
audience, they've never established the idea of a coalescent being before now. And yes, obviously you could say, well, yeah, if they happen to bring it up 5 minutes into the episode, that's going to seem fishy. But it's just as fishy when you bring it up 2 minutes before the climax, you know?
It wasn't 2 minutes. We had to see Bev's hand come out of nowhere.
Well, yes, but either way,
That
it
was
was...
so fucking weird.
Yeah,
The
it was-
graphics were terrible.
Because I'm sitting there, and here's the thing. Up until this point, I'm really enjoying this episode, right? I'm like, you know, honestly. Because I'm like, all right. So, like...
Rossi is judging
But like,
you hard.
how much? Like J.O. Crystal?
I had a lot of notes because I was trying to figure it out. It's like, all right, so has she like really forgotten everything? Did she like go into a fugue state and murder this guy, or was he working with the Klingons so they like Pulaski'd her so she doesn't remember? Like, I was thinking of all this crazy, like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Does she, or maybe she is just the murderer because it does look like, you know, maybe this is why she's into Gordo because like she knows he's already on her side, so it's like, yes, I will seduce you. And then she whips out the J.O. crystal, and I'm like, no, Geordi, didn't you see Man of the People? Never trust sex crystals.
I said that too.
You know, so I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, what's it? And then all of a sudden it's like, goo, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be the goo. She's probably a goo monster. And then it's like, wait, they've got her. Oh my God, the dog's the. Oh,
yeah,
fuck, I
they
was
telegraphed that early when they're like, no, there are two people who are on the stage. And I'm like, they're forgetting the dog. They're forgetting there was they've all patted the dog. The dog could have become anyone in the meantime, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
The dog, Geordi is the coalescent creature.
What
She patted the
what I
dog.
really wanted the end of the episode to be was they figure out it's the dog, but then they can't find it.
Oh, that'd be good.
And that's just the end
That'd
of the
be
episode.
really
That's
good.
some
like,
thing
is
shit.
it's like they figure it out, but the dog is gone.
Well, so here's the thing, right? If I have huge problems with this episode.
Jake hates this episode.
I really don't like this
It's
episode.
rough.
It's
For
great.
one, why? So Geordi needed
You're welcome.
Geordi needed to decrypt the messages.
Yes.
He needed to be a technical engineer. Yet then he goes on to be the lead investigator in this murder
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a weird.
he got addicted to her face.
But that's not how that works. Like, you would you'd have Worf as the chief of security, or better yet, the JAG officer,
Or
somebody.
Ro would be great.
somebody,
is always
somebody
great.
who is trained to be an investigator. Get Moriarty back.
Hey, he's played Watson like 3 times or something,
yeah.
so he's got his credentials.
He knows his
He's got street cred now.
Like, it's unbelievable to me that Geordi is given so much leeway in this to conduct this investigation when it's not his fucking job.
Dude, he's such a creep with women. They probably just wanted to keep him off the fucking ship for a little while.
In addition to what Jake is saying, Geordi has sex with
the suspect!
With the murder suspect!
Oh,
And they don't
on
make
the
him
murder scene!
Yeah, no, Geordi...
On the station!
Geordi does
In front of the dog.
Geordi does everything wrong.
Geordi should be in jail.
Like, at one point, he even, like, starts accusing her. It's like, alone in the station. It's like, Gordo, have you ever seen a mystery that isn't Sherlock Holmes? Have you ever seen a Columbo? Never accuse someone of something alone. They will kill you.
Yeah, you gotta have the warrant first so that you can be like...
Also, okay, let's take a step back. Let's pretend we don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I
Let's
still barely
let's
know what's
pretend we
going
don't
on.
know how the episode ends. Now, if you were watching this, if you were like someone at Starfleet that was reviewing the case file, and the case file was just you watch this episode because the holodeck recreates it.
Yeah,
you know?
like, oh, they did that once.
Yeah. So you're just watching the episode. You'd be like
jerking off
conflict
the
of
whole
interest.
time.
You'd be like, this woman, she's clearly manipulating him now. Like, there's so much wrong with what's going on here.
But she couldn't have been manipulating him. She doesn't know him. She doesn't know how pathetic of a loser he is.
She figures it out pretty quick.
I mean, using sex to influence someone that's investigating you for a crime is a pretty...
Is that not okay? No? What happened?
I mean, you usually get like 2 weeks of paid leave while they investigate it, but...
Here's the thing. She didn't do the crime.
That's true.
So
she
she's not...
should do the time, though.
That's like, she was just actually into Geordi.
That's ridiculous. No, so now here's the other thing, right? If we didn't see it on screen,
We definitely wouldn't believe it.
The dog situation.
Okay.
Here's what I, as an outside observer, here's
God.
what I would have been like. Geordi vaporized this woman's dog, said that it turned into a monster and attacked him just to get his girlfriend out. Relieve the suspicion.
I don't think Geordi knew about the coalescent organism, though.
Well, you might have just... Well, if he was just making it up.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, though, is they did... The only reason that does work is because Bev knew the coalescent organism existed.
Yeah, but
Coalescent.
Yeah, you're right, though. I was thinking that, too. I was like, it kind of sucks that he's on his own. Who the fuck's gonna believe this?
it turned into a slime wand.
Yeah, sure it did, buddy.
I had to shoot it with my phaser.
Tell it to the judge, Geordi.
Watch the computer logs. Yeah, everything's corrupted, dude. You never fixed it.
You jerked off all over it,
too
Geordi.
busy dating someone.
And also,
No, I think he shot the dog on the Enterprise, though, didn't he?
I'm sorry, what?
he did. He was on the Enterprise.
Yeah,
Because
computer's
he was
fine.
in his own quarters because that's where his gun was.
Yeah.
Wait, why was the dog in his quarters?
Because
he was taking care of it.
Well,
Yeah.
while she was being a suspect, he basically adopts this dog. Like I actually
Suspects
read.
are allowed to visit crime scenes, but not have dogs.
Yes. No, I've actually read that originally
That
they
checks
intended Aquiel to be the baddie,
Okay.
and they decided no, that's too basic
That would have
instinct.
that would have made so much more sense.
It would have.
So I went and watched Basic Instinct this week. There is so much sex in Basic Instinct.
Shit.
Famously, we see
Sharon Stone.
Sharon Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you manage to get through it in one sitting?
Yeah. Basic Instinct?
Like what? Instead
Oh,
of
I
having
see
to
what you're
stop
talking
and jerk
about.
off a few times?
I love the
Jesus.
random
Need a
shit
couple
you
cool
will,
offs.
like...
I watched another thing this week, actually. I also watched, there's a 1944 classic movie called Laura, which was
I've heard of that.
this episode was based on. It's got like Gene Tierney and Vincent Price and some other people.
How did they discover
Actually,
the
I might have
coalescent
even-
organism?
I might have
That
even
movie.
seen that.
I watched it on YouTube, but you know how on YouTube when they can get away with showing like movies by like having them zoomed in a weird way or
Yeah.
having the voices too high or some shit.
Yeah.
It was zoomed in on like only half the screen, so I didn't get to
no.
see people's faces most of the episode and didn't know who was who a lot.
Yeah, I think I've
But
seen
the idea is this woman, Laura, was supposedly shot in the face with a shotgun
Jesus
in her
fucking
apartment.
Christ.
And the detective who's investigating it falls in love with her whilst investigating this crime.
That's a really bad idea.
And then, as he falls asleep in her apartment, because he's been there so fucking much, she walks in, and she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Holy fuck, you're alive! Also, I thought you were dead, and I've been investigating you, and I really like you, and all this stuff, so I'm gonna help you."
I'm sorry for all the jizz all over your possessions.
Yes, and they figure out who really did it, and all this stuff happens, and the end.
Yay!
That's great. Cool story.
What was it called?
like
It's
Laura?
called Laura.
Laura.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I did watch that in
Oh yeah, the
college.
Lorax. She's a little orange guy. Speaks to the trees.
So, you know what else? Like, until the reveal, I was mostly into this episode. But there's one thing that really bugged me. Because it was unnecessary. It didn't play into the story. It never came up again. It was just part of this show's, like, almost fetishistic need to be terrible to women. In that, through
that
her
wig?
log... No, not that. that just seemed like she'd borrowed it from TOS. I was fine with that. One of her logs is basically like, it's like when father would beat the shit out of me. Like, she didn't put it that way exactly. Like, all right, so she had an abusive father, and that maybe that's going to play into the story. But it never comes up again.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is it with this fucking show and women? Why can't women have a good day? Like, it's really getting old.
Because we all gotta have daddies, unfortunately.
Seriously, everyone has father issues, especially the women. It's fucking absurd. It's just gross.
Well, also, Geordi kills her dog, too, so there's that.
I mean, honestly, the
slime monster.
The dog's been dead the whole time,
Yeah.
and what a sad way for her to learn that her dog died.
Yeah.
She
Like,
didn't
yes,
seem too
you're
bothered.
off the hook, but I have bad news.
Do you want the good news or the bad news first?
Also, how is she also not in a lot of trouble regardless of the outcome? Considering that
Memory loss, they can blame that a little bit.
I mean, she did specifically delete messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like-
only Geordi might have known that. He might not have
Might have
actually
held
told
that one
anybody.
back.
Yeah.
Well, especially
Blame
after
the
they,
Klingon?
no, I just mean that, like, especially after they figured out that she wasn't the murderer, they probably were just kind of like, oh, well, guess we can stop investigating her now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like unless he told somebody, they probably would have, at that point, been a non-issue.
Also, I didn't like how tropey the whole fucking Klingon side story was. It was like every mystery ever. Let's put a really shifty guy in that is going to seem really guilty and out of place, and he's going to have lied about something, but it won't end up being consequential, and then we'll just forget about it. It's just like it's.
That's how you write a mystery.
You don't have to
You
be so
try to
heavy-handed with the bullshit, though.
It's very formulaic.
It could have been more plausible, like why.
I mean, the thing is, I was into it. Now, I was like, yeah, no, because again, I was thinking somebody was going to have been in league with the Klingons. So I was like, oh yeah, no, this is fine, this makes sense, I get this. It's, like, in the end, it really only doesn't work in retrospect when it turns out, it turns out this wasn't a noir, this was Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Now, here's the thing, though. Humans can't resist a mystery. So the coalescent being just left too many clues.
Yeah. One thing about the coalescent being, this is stuff that'll come up in Deep Space Nine, so I won't say more on it. But I do wonder if this was kind of the precursor for some Dominion spy stuff, story-wise.
Could be.
Maybe not, because
I like the
it's kind of
idea.
a general idea, but
Something to revisit.
Although
yeah,
they-
that's a connection. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of neat. Like before they really had nailed down how certain things worked.
Remind us in a couple of years.
Yeah,
when we.
it won't be that long.
Well, isn't it taking until like season 3 or 4 before that arc really kicks off, though?
That's true. Well, yeah, but true. I think it's season 4 where we get the spies.
Yeah, but we're not there for a while. Here's a question.
Oh, yes.
Here's a question. Did they ever bother contacting the sister?
That's a good question.
Not that we saw.
It's been days, hasn't it?
Geordi'd probably fall in love with her too.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
true. He knew
It's
their
like she's
language
talking
and
to
had
me,
tr-
and I love me.
and had tried their disgusting
Therefore,
juice
I am
drink.
the sister, and I love her.
Yeah, and like, God
See,
damn
then it would have
Geordi.
turned into Vertigo. She would have like looked just like her.
Yeah.
It would have become this whole thing, or close enough like her that with minor tweaks she'd look
I
just
was
like
totally expecting when they were in 10 forward and he finally was like, yeah, I've watched all of your personal logs, and she was a little offended. I thought she was gonna be like, so you're like a cop or a detective then, right? Oh no, I'm the chief engineer. Well, what?
It's really
Yeah.
lonely.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she should have
Where's
stopped.
your captain?
She should have stopped it. That would be like if I went up to a girl and I was like, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, you like your coffee like this, right?" And she was like, "Why do you know that?" It's like, "I look at your Facebook." and then she decided she liked that.
Worse somehow.
Being fair, I thought you were dead.
I mean,
Right.
Here's the thing. The sad thing is, this is the second time it's almost worked, because even with Leah Brahms, she comes around in the end.
Yes,
Oh, what a
never.
nice guy you
Here's
are.
the
What a
thing.
funny
Here's what I'll give
adventure we
Gordo
had.
this time.
You keep calling him
No,
Gordo.
That's what I called him in my notes.
He clearly had to take his shoes off in her quarters while doing this stuff. And why did he take his shoes off? Oh, no, Geordi!
So he could take his pants off.
No, you gotta... It's so you can scritch your toes into this carpet to relieve stress.
To really get into her shoes.
To really get into her carpet.
One thing I noticed, do you remember, what's his name, Fajo?
Kivas
Fajo?
Who stole Data?
Who stole Data?
Oh, I hate that fucking...
You remember he had a buddy
dickhead.
that came over that kept picking his nose?
Oh, yeah!
So the prop that was wrapped around that guy's head...
Is that what that was?
I'm pretty sure that was in her quarters.
I think you may be right.
Also, I call bullshit, by the way, on there's no money in Starfleet. Because there is no fucking way in hell you would get anybody to do that job and not pay them a fortune.
She was ordered to.
I would quit.
Then then you quit.
Well, yeah, but then you go back to your shitty homeworld with your abusive dad
matter.
and your bad juice.
I don't give a shit. You're going to spend
she likes the
fucking
juice. You just have to
year
get used to it.
in this little cramped fucking shithole where you're going to do a job that could literally be done by a fucking computer.
That's how you get to captain, is you follow orders and then you become captain.
Yeah, she's trying to straighten
And then
out
you become
fly
a
right.
corrupt admiral like everybody else.
That
And
has
then
gotta
you get
be,
to do the sexual harassing and the cycle begins again.
That has got to be the worst job
Oh yeah.
in Starfleet.
Oh yeah. It's a punishment.
Like,
I don't know. Some people really don't like people.
I guess
Maybe
Barclay
that's awesome
would maybe-
for somebody.
maybe if I could understand if she had to write a novel, if we had an actual Shining type situation.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I could see this working out, but it's not. I do not think.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, we want to send you somewhere slightly isolated with like one other person.
A dog.
But literally, we are going to pay you to just kind of sit around and make sure nothing breaks.
It's
That's
also
all
it's
right.
also the type of thing where why couldn't you just have a ship that goes around to all of these automated relay stations on a rotation and maintains them.
Because it's, near Klingon space, and yeah, we're technically friends now, but
maybe it's a fucking spy satellite.
Yeah, it's owned by Starfleet Intelligence.
It's still pretty boring.
Yeah, it still sounds pretty awful.
I think they should have gone full
also,
Twilight Zone, and she'd be like, wow, I finally have all this time to read. And then she breaks her glasses.
Why did Governor Shitstain say...
Governor Toe Rag.
Whatever.
That's what I called him. That's what it sounded like.
General Toe Rag. Why the fuck... Is he
'cause
like?
Morag
Was he like? We're lucky we didn't shoot her shuttle on site. And
yeah,
like why would you shoot a Federation shuttle on site? What the fuck's wrong with you? That would cause a fucking war.
This whole episode did seem vaguely to have forgotten what the political status is between the Klingons and the Federation right now.
Yeah, I thought everything was pretty good.
It's relatively all right, It's
all right.
Also,
we're out of the red, so we have to move on.
Wait, but did anybody else...
I have one more question. Was Troy in this episode? She might have been useful for a change.
Oh my god,
seriously.
I sense she's telling the truth. Thanks, Troy! We're done here!
Yeah, but you really gonna believe
Where's my
her?
ice cream?
She just fucking wants attention, that Troy. You know what I found implausible? Geordi called that dog Pooch like 10 times.
That bothered me so much.
No
one calls a dog Pooch.
I call a dog Pooch.
Remember how I said my third note was about the dog's probably a shapeshifter?
Oh, no, it was the second
my
note.
My first note was Pooch with an exclamation
So
point.
it's funny that you say that, because when I was thinking about how to bring it up, I was going to be like, if I had written notes, my first note would have been Pooch!
What's wrong with Pooch?
Nobody
Yeah,
fucking
I'm cool
says
with
It's
Pooch.
weird to
said
say
Pooch.
15 times in a row.
I also
And-
don't like that. I didn't like the dog's haircut.
Pooch.
I call
It's a
all
terrier.
I call all dogs puppies.
Yeah, everybody
Puppy.
does that. That's normal. Pooch
I don't
is
know
like
what's
a
normal
weird...
or not.
Well, I'm here to tell you.
Thank
that
you
the
for
puppy
affirming my
is
normalness.
normal.
Hey,
I
twat
appreciate
sniffer.
it.
No, I didn't say you were normal.
I
I
was gonna
said
say,
you happened to
no!
have hit on something that is normal.
James, no one on this podcast has the ability or right or authority to affirm anyone's normalness.
And on that note, we have run out of time, according to the clock.
The clock has spoken.
Unless anyone else has any last.
Nah, I'm good.
Nope.
I don't think the clock should be speaking.
We're listening to the
Yeah.
clock.
Ah!
All hail clock. All right, fine. Well, let me wrap this one up then. So that was those two episodes. I think. Chris seemed to actually kind of like Aquiel a little bit.
I wish the solution hadn't been so stupid.
I didn't mind the solution. See, Jake has been enlarging the badness
Embiggening.
Jake has been embiggening the badness of this episode for weeks now, being like, Aquiel,
it was a rough.
that one's garbage. I can name 5 episodes from this season alone that are worse.
There are way worse throughout the history of.
I'm not saying
TNG.
I'm not saying it's the worst. I find this episode convoluted, boring. I don't like this episode. I'm not saying it's the worst episode. I just don't like it.
If it had been someone Geordi didn't end up falling in love with, it might have been interesting in a different kind of way. And it were still I happen to have information on you not being the suspect. Maybe this is a thing. But yeah, Geordi's got to keep it in his pants.
See, the thing is I actually kind of liked the romance angle because for once I was kind of like, hey, all right. You know?
I'm pretty done with romance angles. And I think they really wanted to include some romance because with Keiko and O'Brien gone, they're like, oh no.
When was there ever any romance between those two?
That was definitely anti-romance.
There's
No, they just did it because of Laura.
That was a marriage of inconvenience.
Well, but literally
set them
the
up
only
because he thought that it was how you did it.
there was the marriage episode, and then there was the what the fuck is this garbage you're feeding me episode. Was that also the episode where he's like, I've seen you looking at those other guys, or was that a different episode that also didn't really?
Oh, there was also the one where he had to
where
he didn't fuck her because she was. 10.
Oh yeah, Lolita. Don't forget Lolita.
Yikes.
There was no romance ever. It was I'm shocked they had a kid.
So what's next week, Jake?
So next time on our
What a
Star to
place.
Steer Her By, we will be talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek: The Generation.
Whoa.
The first of which will be Face of the Enemy. The enemy's face.
Ooh.
And then the Tapestry. Tapestry.
Isn't it just Tapestry?
It is
It
just
is.
Tapestry. But
Pedants.
I said the face of the enemy, so I also had to say the Tapestry. Neither of them have thes at the beginning.
The diabetes.
Amazing.
Okay, so those will be coming up next week. Until then, you can keep up with us and all of our crazy adventures online at astartosteerherby.com. Also on Twiddler and Tumblr.
That's not a thing.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
What is it?
We don't have a startosteerherby.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I said that wrong.
Oh, I thought
It's-
you meant Twiddler.
it's
Which, also is not actually.
It's
a thing.
sshbpodcast.com and on Diddler and Dumbler at
Those are right.
SSHB Podcast. And you can find us on Facebook at just search for A Star to Steer Her
See how
By
much better he's gotten, Rossi?
podcast.
It's lovely.
And then you can download our show on iTunes.
I should have added a part in the clock for this.
Jake babbles for 5
For
minutes.
iTunes and Google, Time,
Goggles.
and other podcast things. And always our home on the web on SoundCloud, Star to Steer By. Just search. You'll find us. That's where we live. So, without further ado, my name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
This has been James Rossi.
Woo!
Peace out till you meets out.
What?
Computer, end program!
Oh Lord, what's happened? Sorry, did that actually hurt? I apologize.
So why
Okay,
did
good.
Jafar? So Jafar is supposed to be like a grown
Why
man.
did he want to fuck her? Because it was the fucking
that and it was
BC or some shit.
It was the key to the throne.
Her vagina?
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
Like
I
a
think-
pussy.
that's how
Weird.
royal
That's
succession
not where you
works.
should keep that.
So okay, she was a princess.
Yeah.
Jasmine.
Have you seen Aladdin?
Yeah, like have you ever
Well,
seen?
Aladdin was a
It's
prince.
a Disney film. No.
No,
Aladdin
because
was
of
a
the wish.
street rat.
They had that whole fucking parade with the elephants.
Because he made the
Dude,
wish.
he made a wish.
Are you fucking with us?
So
Are
then
you
he was,
legit?
and then he was
All
a
right.
prince.
Yeah.
So
Stop engaging.
Wow, the shit-eating grin on Jake's face.
I love eating shit.
We all knew that.
Wow.
Whoa.